to this week's video. This is take 2 of me filming this, so apologies if my throat is a little bit rusty. I've got my window open as well, by the way, so if you get any background noise, hopefully it won't disturb things too much. So I feel like I've got a lot to catch you up on this week. My rough agenda will be just to catch you up on what I've got up to in my books in the last week, including the introduction of this filofax and my sort of journey to getting there. I also want to do a flip through of the third of my field notes because I finished that this week. And then I've made a couple of purchases and invested in some more stationery. After last week, not saying that I wasn't going to buy any more stationery, but we'll move past that. So yeah, essentially, normal catch up, flip through of the field notes, and then showing you the new bits and pieces and talking to you a bit about how that stuff's going to get used. So in my mind, the filofax is the star of the show, but I'm just going to move it to one side and show you the bits and pieces I've been up to in the last week. So I think it makes sense to start with the A6. That's the book that I've been the most consistent with so far this year. I'm hoping as well that as I talk through things I can clear some of this clutter, because I don't think I've ever seen my desk this busy. My calendar page and so on hasn't changed that much, so I'm just going to take you straight to August. And yeah, I think this is where we were last week. So my layout sort of been the same. My checkboxes at the top, my to-do list on the left, my evening entry on the right. Got some stickers from Kunst and Marigo Suli here. We've also got some from one from Stamped and Sealed. I mess that name up so often, but I'll tag them below. And a Colour Cafe one here. Got a couple more of the Stamped and Sealed stickers here. We've got some pictures tacked in here. So something that I do is once I've finished reading a book, I photograph it and tack the picture in here, and it gives me a sense of how quickly I'm getting through books. Some Stamped and Sealed Co stickers here, a couple of Rhiannon stickers here, and a little bit of washi as well. We've got some more Megan stickers here. We've got a cutout of a Yoshitomo Nara character here, some washi and a Megan star. And then this sort of little floral doodle or drawing here. I placed an order with Pocket Milo. He is an illustrator over in America, and the envelope had these nice doodles on, so I've cut them out. You can see a couple here as well. I've cut them out and I've added that one here, and then these are here for the next few days. And then today's looking kind of blank so far because nowadays I'm mostly looking at the A6 when I do my evening entry. So yeah, that's the A6 so far this week. Kind of quieter, and me moving into the rings a bit more. It's kind of the rationale and the reason behind that, and I'll be able to go into a bit more detail shortly. Next, to look at these Traveller's Notebook style notebooks. Don't know why I struggled with that so much. So we'll look at the current month to start with. So after showing you all the sort of stickers and stuff I got last week, I've added this mushroom sticker to the front here. So it's nice. It's a bit of a decorative element, but it's still quite neat and minimal. My calendar, you know, looking calendar-esque. It's been helpful tracking this health information on the side. I've since found a way of doing that in the rings that I really like, so I won't need to replicate this next month, but it's still helpful. The gratitude list going strong. I've got a couple to catch up with just here. What I tend to do if I do miss a day or so is I look at my entry in the A6, and I can quite quickly then think of something that's pertinent to that particular day. What's been quite nice so far in here as well is seeing what themes come up. So for instance, just having a very quick look, I can see yoga in there a few times. I'm getting a lot out of that practice at the minute. So that's good to see and good to reflect on as well. And just looking at the weekly spreads, we've got my sort of daily entries in here, we've got a bit of decoration on the side, and we've got a to-do list. This, again, I found something, I found a way rather of sort of having this in the rings that's a bit easier for me. So next week I won't need to, well, this is this week. So yeah, it was helpful this week as well. But I won't need to replicate that next week. And these are the entries so far. So quite brief snapshot entries, exactly what I intended to put in here. And then I really like this decoration on this page. So we've got Colour Cafe washi. This washi was on my Marigot Souli on the envelope of the order, and I kept it aside for something. And then this is like from the Witch Girl sheet, and then we've got a Megan star here. So I just really like the composition of that. So yeah, I've not done any decoration or anything like that for next week. I'm with the rings and my journey kind of getting there. I'm starting to think about how this book and the ones I've got for like upcoming months might continue to be helpful for me, because a lot of what I've been capturing in here I'm actually getting on better capturing in the rings setup instead. So we'll see how this sort of evolves over time. And just sort of to look at the sort of commonplace section in here, I'll talk you through what I've written in here in the last week. So I think, yeah, we were here. So it's August. We've got the Hobonichi previews sort of dropping each day. I thought initially that I might write a bit every day about my thoughts on, you know, each of the items that's coming through. But I'd maybe been a bit naive doing that, because I thought I would like more of the stuff that's been coming out. I don't really want to write at length about things that I don't really like. So I've not really written much about them, but I did like a lot of the designs for the freebie. So I've written about that, which my favourites are, just a note about like what items they're eligible to come with, and these little print offs here. This pencil stickers from Rhiannon. I then wrote a couple of pages about the case of Who Put Bella in the Witch Elm. This is quite a local case to me, so it's something that sort of crops up in my brain, you know, like every few months. I've read a bit about it, I've listened to podcasts about it, and it kind of came up in my brain again because I have read a book about British woodlands and the different types of trees that are sort of native to the UK, and the wych elm got mentioned, so it sort of triggered, you know, like a spider diagram, thinking about woodland, thinking about where that tree grows, thinking about this case. So yeah, I've got that information in here, including the kind of botanical information about the tree, because the type of tree isn't really linked to the case. It seems like it was a kind of opportunistic thing. But yeah, my head just made that connection and I wanted to document it. A few more stickers, a few more sort of print-offs from the Wikipedia article. I finished that book about British woodlands, so I've tacked it in here, written my little review up. Got another sticker here from Stamped and Sealed Co. I read Rewild Yourself in an Afternoon, so I've got my little review in here as well. Yeah, and then I've got a brief definition here of a term that I've been familiar with for a while, but I just wanted it written down. So that's that. I've got this little collage in here, so I wouldn't normally just do a page of collage in a commonplace book, but when I was initially setting up the rings, I had some printed pages from the last time I tried rings, and I initially put them in, and I had the sort of blank page within that setup, and I thought the collage would be a nice way to fill that space. As it turned out, the next day I decided to go with a bit of a different vibe, so I removed the page, but I didn't want to lose this, so I've just tagged it in here. And then just got a bit of information about the ring setup, what led me to it, and some thoughts and ideas about how I could really utilise that space. So yeah, that's where we are so far. Oh, actually, before I just show you this briefly. So that takes me to page 27 of 30, and we're still like halfway through the month. So something I proposed doing last week, I have done, and that is that I went to my July book, took out the spare pages, and went over page numbers with some white out, and I've got them back here. So that way, if I'm mid-flow and I get to the natural end of this booklet, I've just got the pages ready to go, rather than sort of faffing about when the time comes. And then just to briefly touch on a little bit of decoration I did to start setting up for September. So I used my label maker to put the month on. That's what I did this month as well. I've got this UFO picture that I think it was probably on Tumblr, that I printed off and added to the front here. And I've just done a little bit of decoration for the calendar. So the numbers, I think, are from Moor & Kunst, and the washi is Marigo Suli. So yeah, just made a little bit of a start on that. And now I'm thinking, I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to use this next month because of how I've got the rings going. I might go back to doing it for like media related stuff. I'll definitely be using the commonplace pages. That's been the most useful part of these booklets for me so far, particularly now I've finished the field notes. And there's our transition to the next section. I feel like a TV host or something saying that. So yeah, earlier in the year I bought this pack of field notes, and I have used them for my commonplacing and got on like really well with them. This being said, now I've been commonplacing in here, the size of the like traveller's notebook size booklet is actually better for me. And essentially this was a one-off, this was an experiment. I don't think I'm going to go back to field notes. Just from a cost point of view, I was worried that the cost side of things would put me off using these really freely. I was able to kind of put that thought in stasis to a degree and just be pretty free with these, but that cost just put me off repurchasing the booklets in the future. So I'll take you through field notes number 3, and that'll be me sort of done with field notes then after this. Each of my field notes I've set out in quite similar ways, and I'm going to try and flip through quite quickly just because there's a lot to talk about today. But if there's any questions or anything, just drop me a comment and I'll talk you through it. So just looking at the front cover initially, this is a couple of trick-or-treaters. I've kind of kept like a spooky trick-or-treat Halloween theme with all of these, so they go together. I mean, it go in that order. They go together quite nicely, I think. Just pop those there in case I need to refer to them. Got my name here, got a little introduction here, and we've got my key. That's been fairly consistent. It's evolved over time a little bit, but the general principles are the same. I've started off with an entry here about commonplacing itself, and we've got some stickers in here and some print-offs online, more quotes, particularly about commonplacing, but then other quotes that I just really like. So for the sort of first half of this year, I was really all over the shop with commonplace books and everything was scattered. So one of the things that I made a point of doing in this third notebook is amalgamating everything. So that way, this year, if I want to look at my commonplace stuff, I'm going to look at the field notes, I'm going to look at these traveller's notebook style books, and I know that they're just going to be in those places, and they'll be, you know, sort of archived nicely. So there's a good few quotes in here. Yeah, okay, these are from Unmasking Autism. One of my end stickers here. Belt jar. Got a to-do list here. So something that I did quite a bit within these field notes is ending up sort of blending commonplacing and supplementing what I felt I was missing out on in the A6. So often you see to-do lists in here sort of trackers of habits and that sort of thing. And initially, you know, I moved from the field, doing those things in the field notes, to the traveller's notebook, and thinking I'd probably use a week's for that next year. I'm now doing that in the ring setup, and I think that's going to be, you know, we'll touch wood, the way I continue to use them moving forward. I've got loads of quotes in here. So I've got in here, this is part of that sort of supplementing the weeks thing. This is a self-care checklist. It is a print off that Megan Rhiannon offered to her patrons. She's done a number of autism inserts, and this has been really valuable for me the last few weeks. So I've inserted a few of these, and you'll see them as you go along. More quotes, just lots and lots of writing in this. And this is, I feel like this one's probably the closest to like a quintessential, traditional, commonplace that I've done so far. Yeah, some notes here about the Mothman cryptid. So a little bit like that Who Put Bella in the Witch Elm thing. There's certain subjects that I'll listen to loads of podcasts on, I'll watch documentaries on, and that sort of thing. And for a while, I didn't put them in my commonplace book. I think I felt a bit silly about being interested in that stuff, but there's loads of people all around the world that are interested in those things. So essentially I've stopped giving myself grief for that, and I'm just letting myself engage with my interests. That is a work in progress, but I'm getting there. A couple of pictures from a hike my friend and I did. Got another insert here, the self-care checklist. And we've got a couple of entries then from the beginning of the Hobonichi reveals. And here are my main thoughts sort of about what I might want to do with planners next year. So I've got some information about my main book, an A5, and looking at using a week's and the things I would be tracking. I've got a reminder here of the different senses within the body. I've got a quote here. Some information to refresh myself about the chakras, and some yoga related information. Reference information about page sizes, because my journey to get into the rings had me thinking about maths, which is quite difficult for me. Some quotes, and some more thinking about planners, yeah, and rings and stuff. So that was kind of a whistle-stop tour through this. If you want me to do like a more detailed flip through of like all of these, maybe thoughts, reflections, whatever, let me know. I can always revisit stuff, because these are going to live on my shelf. Like I say, there's a number of things in here that I want to be able to come back to and reference. So those are the field notes for now, and you know, that set looks really nice together. So a good time was had by all. Now we move to like kind of a big, sort of in my head, messy portion of the video. So why do I have 3 different rings? I have like object permanence issues, I think. I don't know what the deal is. But essentially, let's put these to the side for a moment actually. I bought this rings planner in maybe March or April, and that was my first attempt at giving the rings a go. I talked about it in a previous video. It's not a filofax brand. It was, you know, I think it was on Vinted I got it, so it cost me maybe a £5. Had a few dividers in, helpful. And I used it for a little while, didn't get on with it. And I convinced myself that I had sold this and sold the hole punch that I bought for it. That turned out not to be the case, but because I'd done that, I was like, right, okay, I want to try rings again. So I'd watched some of Bronte's recent videos in rings, and also a bunch of videos from Simone as well. I'll put both their YouTube pages, like the links below. And the first time I tried rings, it hadn't worked out for me, because I was duplicating a lot of stuff that I was putting elsewhere. And also I'd got really finicky about everything looking just right and everything being measured out just perfect. And it was driving me up the wall. So I ditched it And then I thought I sold this, but I didn't. Now I think one of the things that probably caused me issues, now I've looked at other ring setups, is I'm not sure what the millimeters are on this. I don't know if you can even see that. These are tiny rings. So yeah, I might touch on it again in a sec, but basically I ended up buying like a budget friendly rings planner on Etsy, which is what this black one is. And then a few days after that, because I sort of bought this, not spur of the moment, but I was feeling kind of like rushed and chaotic in my head. I don't really know how to describe it. And I was starting to look at inserts and things that I could use in it. And I was looking at personal size stuff. And I was like, yeah, this is, you know, this that I've bought that I was waiting to arrive in the post, that's a personal size, right? And then I looked on Etsy and it was listed as an A5 size. And my brain went into panic mode thinking that I'd bought an A5, no, A6. I thought I'd bought a different size. This is actually a personal size. So I went into panic and I thought, oh, bloody hell, like, what am I going to use this for? I found uses for both of these and I'll show you in a sec. But because of that, I was like, do you know what? I feel so positively about how I've set this rings up, and I felt positive about it even when I was just like planning it in my head and starting to print things off. I was like, look, let's have a look on eBay. Let's see what we can find. Buy a branded one, because then you know what the sizes actually are and you can actually kind of like verify and trust that information. So I bought this red filofax as well. So this feels like excess in some ways, but I've put everything to use. So I'll show you how I'm using each bit. So my original rings that I got on Vinted, I'm putting spare paper in. Something that I wanted to make sure I was doing with this setup was not buying paper for the sake of buying paper. And I have on my bookshelf a number of notebooks that have been sat there for a while. So as well as the paper that came with this original rings and then the filofax stuff that's arrived, something that I've done this week is I've gone through some of those notebooks that I don't really like the covers of, maybe it's cheaper paper, whatever it is, and I have scalpeled them. And I have now got like quite a collection in here of different types of paper. So some of it's cream, some of it's white, most of it's lined. I've also got some grid paper on the shelf as well because this didn't fit on. So this is my little spare paper binder, and everything's going to keep the dust off it and it's going to be tied in. It'll look nice on my shelf. So that's the purpose I found for this one. Then this black one, this was a nice like holding space for my pages until the red one arrived. And to be fair, I do quite like this. Some of the adhesive has come loose already, which isn't great, but this is nice. It's decent sized rings as well. But what I am going to be using this for is for my sticker collection. So I've got a number of stickers in this wallet here. And then what I've also done is online, I've bought some sticker release paper loose and trimmed that down. Now you'll see the edges here. It's kind of wonky. I've not done things the neatest, but it's just a functional space. It's just for me to be able to find everything really quickly. At the minute, my stickers are all sat in a drawer, piled on top of each other. And, I said before about object permanence. If I can't see it, I'll forget I've got it. So something I'm going to do maybe this evening, I'm going to pop a film on and I'm going to organise it by like categories. So for instance, I've got a bunch of stickers that have got ghost characters on. So I'll have a ghost section, and then I'll have a mushroom section, and then I'll have a book section, and this will just then be a really quick, easy place for me to find that, find those stickers. And also then, if I want to change from the red cover, I can always just swap things over, and I can always then just use this as my main planner cover. So that's the use I'm putting that to. Then finally we get to the filofax. I received this afternoon and I've set it up this afternoon. It's my birthday in a couple of weeks' time, and I filmed the like unboxing and setting up of these pages, and I'm thinking that will be a good video to upload during that week, because I'm not sure I'm going to have a chance to film, because it's my partner's birthday that week as well, and we've both got the week off, so yeah, we're probably just going to be doing stuff. So if you want an unboxing, that is on its way. So I'll talk you through how I've set this up and yeah, everything that's kind of led to it, I guess. This cover is a little bit bent, which is slightly annoying. So this is Filofax Metropol personal size. I've got in here, so it's got 2 pen loops, which is helpful. One of the things that I'm looking to do with rings, so I mentioned before about the paper and utilising cheap paper, utilising older notebooks, is what I really liked about Simone's videos and how she has her rings set up is there's like a looseness to it, there's a scrappiness to it, there's a DIY element, and it really, like, you could see her personality in it. And that's what I want for this setup. So I want to use those old notebooks and trim down the pages and have a looseness and have a freeness. And kind of part of that is writing in other colours. So for instance, I tried out the Zebra Sarasa vintage collection, and I've got the others in a pot over there. And I just think it's a nice way to have a bit more like freedom and flexibility. I think I've mentioned it in other videos, but in the Hobonichi book, I've kind of found myself a bit uptight about messing about a bit and experimenting and getting creative with things. So this is going to be a space where I do that, and I'll show you a little bit about how I've done that. So just to talk you through like what I've got in the cover itself, at the very back here I've just got a loose sheet that I'm using kind of like a blotter. So that's just there. Here I've got a couple of business cards. So I've got a thank you card from Megan. When I ordered the Traveller's Notebook things from her, she wrote a little note on there as well, which is nice. I've got some of my own business cards underneath. I've got some business cards here from like local businesses, so they're like more like loyalty cards. So those are there for me to get to. And I've just got some like loose like notepad, sort of loose notepad bits here, and some note pages from Megan as well. What I found, you know, I set this up this afternoon, these pockets are really tight, so I'm actually struggling to get anything in properly. They'll loosen up over time. I've got a couple of like charms on here. These are Isabel and Lottie from Animal Crossing. I'm not going to use the right word, but you know, like Kinder Egg, like mystery plastic things. Both of these came in those. Initially my partner got Isabel and I got Lottie, and I had Lottie on my keys for a while, my house keys. My partner decided she like didn't want the sort of extra faff on her keys, so I acquired Isabel as well. So these two live here. I do also have, you've probably seen on this shop, I've got like a little mystery package here that I'm going to open in a sec. My plan is, depending on the design and how bulky this is, that might go on here. I like the idea of, you know, chopping and changing, like I say, customizing and putting my personality into this space a bit. So yeah, I'll show you that shortly. But these are really cute, and also, you know, they went nicely with the black one, but I think particularly Lottie looks really nice with the red. So the sort of overall vibe I'm going for currently in here is kind of based on a Pinterest board that I made a few days ago. So I rejigged like my Pinterest boards, and I've got one for painting specifically. And when I looked at the board after sort of adding some images on there, a lot of them had quite a dark, moody feel. I guess that's the best way for me to put it. So the dark moodiness is like the vibe that I'm basically gonna like try and capture. I'm also really loving, you can probably tell already just looking at it, I'm really loving the combination of red and black together, and that's been like the main sort of thread through this. So I'll do a bit of a flip through, talk you through the images and the pages and so on. And I think anyone who's like consistently watched my videos will get how well this is working for me, given the gaps I've had, given the sort of difficulties I've had. So firstly, I've got this clear wallet, and I've got this Yoshitomo Nara piece in here. This, I think it's called Sleepless Nights. It's kind of like a vampiric character. And this is a picture that I use like quite consistently as a profile picture on the internet. And it feels kind of like they're a mascot for the book in a way. So it's really cool there. And what I have been doing as well is using this wallet for receipts and stuff. So earlier today I returned a library book and I had the receipt in here. So every time I looked in here, I had that reminder of you need to return that library book. So that was helpful. I've got this initial, I've got this clear divider. This came with the filofax. So that's giving this 2024 page here a little bit of extra cover. This is a Rhiannon one. I think it's just on her Patreon, and it's the Ghost with the Pumpkins. So I'll have this, I foresee having this as my dashboard till like the end of October at least. So that's there to start us off. I've also clipped this picture in. I printed off a few pictures you'll see shortly for my dividers in here, and I completely guessed the size for this one wrong, so that's just sitting on there. It's just like I say, that sort of scrappiness. It's a way of me like having the image in here still without committing to it in a massive way. This is another Megan page. It is a list of different ways of having a sensory break. So being autistic, it's really useful, really important for me to have these sensory breaks. I printed this off some time ago and I had it on my corkboard in my room. However, the corkboard's kind of far away in terms of how small this text is. So when I was setting up the rings, I thought, well, actually, sod it. I'm going to put the holes in it. And it's right at the front here, so I'm like seeing it quite frequently. And it's just been a really good visual reminder for me to do these things. So I'm really grateful to have that access to that. And this is the first of my dividers. So these dividers that I've created, I placed an order with Flying Tiger maybe like a year ago now, and I ordered some watercolour paper and didn't read the description properly, and I ordered a pack of black paper instead of white paper, so I can't use it for watercolour painting as I'd intended, but it has come in useful in a number of other ways. So it's like a stiff paper, but it's not as stiff as cardboard. So I trimmed that down, and then I found the pictures online in that paintings folder that I created. So I've got a number of paintings that I've then glued to these dividers that you'll see as you go through. And then I've just added a tab to the top using some Colour Cafe washi tape. So you can see a couple of those as we go through. In this first section, I've got a number of Megan's commonplace pages tacked in. And you'll see there's this index section at the top. So these pages I had from my first attempt at doing rings. And I thought to myself, well, I'm going to try and approach this differently. I want to use this how I would use the right hand side of a Hobonichi Weeks. And the plan I had was to have my daily habits and things that I want to keep on top of. So this is essentially an expanded version of the check boxes that I've had on the A6 this year. So I've got that at the top. I've got then the things that I want to make sure I do at least once a week. So these are things like changing the bedding, having a rest day, doing a food shop. That's the next section. And then I've got a section at the bottom here for one-off tasks. So my to-do list for the week that don't crop up consistently. And then I've got the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, etc. at the top here. I've used this Lethbridge Papers sticker here to cover over the index bit because I'm not needing to index. And this has worked so well for me this week. I've drawn up next week's as well. And I mentioned before about that combination of black and red. I really like how nicely these work together, and everything they feel like meshing together rather than like conflicting colours. And then what I've done on the back here is I've got a similar sort of tracker, but for the health stuff that I want to keep an eye on. So in the Traveller's Notebook style book, what I had been tracking, gosh, I'm struggling to find it now. What I've been tracking here, suddenly, rather than having 4 things, I'm able to track basically everything that I need and want to track. And I've got this list here, so if there's something else that I think, oh yeah, I do experience, I don't know, heartburn, loads at the minute, I can add that, track it. And as someone with like, I'm autistic and I struggle with alexithymia or alexithymia, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. It's just a really good mindfulness thing for me. But then also, if there's anything that's cropping up too often, I've got something like substantive to take to a doctor. I had a whole book for health stuff at the beginning of the year, and that was just too much. Whereas having a checklist each week takes so much off the like work out there. So yeah, I've got that set up for next week as well. And I've got a few spare pages ready for the next few weeks. My next divider, next couple of paintings. And then this is like the really like fast and loose bit. So the cheap paper, the crappy paper, it's this middle section where that's really going to come into its own. And I'm literally just writing down everything and anything that comes into my head in this section. I've needed a space like this for a long time. I worried in the Hobonichi books about like ruining them and messing things up. If I've bought a notebook 5 years ago that cost me £3 and I chop that up, now it's going in here, you know. So generally speaking, I've been using my date stamp in here at the beginning of the day. I've done a short to-do list, and then just whatever comes up, comes up. And then as and when I fancied it, I've also just put little bits of decoration in as well. I'm not giving it too much thought, I'm just going with the flow. That's been really freeing. I've got a pencil board in here from Hobonichi. This has been helpful to use as a ruler in these pages, particularly while I was waiting for the filofax to arrive, because I knew the filofax had a ruler of itself, but I already had this trimmed down, and I've just got like a bookmark tab on here. So this is from the spring release last year, I think it was now. So that's in here. That's pretty useful. It's a good ruler. I've got this as well as the filofax one. I don't know if I'm gonna want or need both, but I'm kind of using it as a bookmark for where I am within these pages, in addition to having the dividers. So yeah, I've got a few of these pages in here. I'll skip through, and then we've got my next divider with the tab on. And then I've put some graph paper in the back here. This is, oh actually I've got a few different types of paper. I might get rid of these ones. These are the ones in a bit. Anyway, this back section I'm going to use for collections. So what I was intending to put in the notes section of the weeks were collections of things that I have had in commonplace books that come up time and time again that I want to refer to. So for example, recipes, the information that I put in the field notes about the different senses, more autism resources essentially. And this way I've got them with me all the time. They're going to be really quick for me to refer to. And say for example with a recipe, if I want to take the recipe down to my kitchen and use it, I just put that on the fridge, or I can have it on the work surface. And if I get sauce on it, or if I get garlic on it and it gets gross and sweaty, I just chuck that page away and I can rewrite that list again. The freedom of not being in a bound book, and if I ruin something I can just do it over and fix it. I don't know why, it's just been like a light bulb moment for me. So that's the intention with these, like this back section. Let's have a look. And then I've just got some spare bits at the back here. So this is a little kind of homemade pencil board that I made for the A6. So that lives in here. It's another bookmark if for whatever reason I needed it. I've got this 2024 sort of front cover from Megan as well. So this is of the sort of not pencil board, sorry, of the like front covers that she's made so far this year. This has been my favourite. I think it might have been from the beginning of the year. So once October has passed, I'll swap this and pop it in the front here. Yeah, so from now till, you know, end of Halloween, that's my front cover, and then I can switch back to this one. And this does have like a wintry feeling to me, so that's there for that. I've got one of those self-care checklists. A lot of the self-care checklist I now have my own version of in this front section here, but for whatever reason, well, I had this spare, but if for whatever reason I'm struggling to write, because like that happens sometimes, I get pain in my hands and it's difficult sometimes, I've got a spare basically, so it's just kind of there as a backup. I've got another sort of dashboard here just as a spare. I chopped up, they were A4 size initially, I chopped up an A4 size piece of paper and this was a spare, so I've just got this for whenever I want to decorate it. And then this is like a wallet from filofax. Doesn't have a purpose at the minute, but I figure, you know, with me putting like receipts or whatever in here, it's just another space for me to shove stuff in quickly if I need to. This might be helpful for if I have a day out or a trip somewhere and I want to quickly tuck that ephemera away. It's there, and I've got a bit of space, you know, everything fits quite nicely and neatly here at the moment. So that's the filofax, and this is a really vibrant colour for me. I tend to stick to neutrals, I tend to stick to like black, grey, navy blue, and then, you know, earthy tones if I can, but I'm liking black and red together at the minute, like I say. And kind of one of the reasons I felt brave stepping into this bright colour is because I bought my cover for my Hobonichi book next year. So I'll just show you that next. So this is, yeah, all set up, all lovely. We're now going into the portion where I'm essentially doing a bit of a show and tell of some new stationery bits that I've bought. So first things first, that I suppose kicked me off with this all was my cover for next year. I'm keeping this in the tissue because I just don't want it to get too dusty or anything. So this is a cover from an Etsy seller based in France. Oh yeah, I've got my tabs for next year as well. I'm very prepared. So the Etsy seller is called by Verona, and they do covers that are they're like a paper texture, but it feels very like firm, very solid. And none of the Hobonichi covers so far in the reveal are blowing me away, and I just wanted something simple, but I also wanted something that had the benefits of the Traveller's Notebook style covers, and I'll show you in a second, but this has elastics in like the Traveller's Notebook covers do. So essentially the plan is, this is me next year, and I just love how these two sit together and how they look together. So yeah, I'll just show you this cover in a little bit more detail. It's got this elastic on the front, and I've added this little charm to the front. This charm, you'll see I've got it on this paper clip here. It's actually, I don't know the term because I don't knit, but it's like a little marker, I think it's called, stitch marker maybe, for people who knit, and it's just this little skull. So I clip it onto things like this just to add a little bit decorative element. So we open it up and it's the same black on the inside. There's a lot of different options, but I just went for black on black. And we've got three different elastics on here. So my plan is that I'll have the A5 Avec, and I'll probably put it in a plastic cover like this one, and that'll live in here. I may put a sketchbook in here as well, but I'm not too sure. And just to kind of see how things look, I've put this, this is a Muji notebook. I put this Muji notebook in here. And it's weird having it like prepped so far in advance, but I'd actually set this up for this year and not used it. So this book will be initially acting as like overflow, morning pages, ranting, etc. I probably won't ever show you the inside of this particular book. I've got my pencil board from my cousin last year as well, so that's going to come in useful. And I've done a little bit of decoration on the front because, like I say, I set it up for this year. So these are some Megan Rhiannon stickers, and then this is just a bit of washi underneath. So that's like prepped and ready to go basically for next year. I'll put these back here. So yeah, I just love the red and the black together. I feel like that's a very kind of classic look. And then I'll show you, yeah, some new stationery bits, and I don't know if anyone cares, I'm also going to show you some books I've borrowed from the library / bought. Let's open up this Teddy Bears thing. I've always thought the Teddy Bear things were quite cute, but I never wanted to invest in like the big plushes or anything. I have enough plushes. I don't need any more really around the house. So this is a good in-between. Let's see which one I've got. I'm kind of hoping for Bones or Bundle. So they're kind of like skeleton one or the mummy one, but all of them are nice, so let's have a look. Yes, I've got the one I wanted. Let's grab this. Great, I've got that one that I wanted. I don't like this like plastic, but I'll be able to attach it to like another like key ring, I think. And that looks kind of, obviously green and red are complementary colours, but I feel like that looks like really sick down there. So I'll probably attach that once I finish talking to you. I'm very pleased with that. And then just to show you some bits and bobs I bought. So I mentioned that I'm going to be a bit more like free and easy in terms of how I format things and decorate things. And what I wanted to do within those loose pages in the filofax is just have a bit of fun with like titles and fonts and stuff. Last week I saw this stencil set over at Works. I didn't get it at the time because I was still just sort of toying with this idea, but I went back today. My other thought, sorry, I'll stop rustling. My other thought with these is in the A6 and in the cousin next year, there's nothing stopping me from using these 4 headings. Yeah, I don't know, I just kind of got in my head about formatting things in a certain way in there. So I might change things up in there, but I had the rings more in mind for this. Now realistically, in my books, it's probably going to be these 2 sizes that I use. Yeah, they've both got numbers on. But I've got these bigger ones. These might come in useful for like artwork, particularly if I start integrating text into that. I've got a stencil that has like circles on it and things like that, and it's quite useful for that point of view. Okay, so these ones are probably going to be more like art-based stuff, but these will probably like live on my desk and I'll use them for those things. And then I've got a couple of sets of stickers here. So it's the afternoon, I'm not sure how good the light is, but this is gold letters and numbers, and this is silver letters and numbers. So same principle again. I'll be primarily looking at using these in the filofax, I think. But hey, if I get on well with them, maybe they'll start appearing in the A6. I also got this notebook. This is like a standard ruled notebook, and I really like this woodlands tree design of it. Now, I made a bit of a boo-boo here. It's not the end of the world, but I thought this was A5 size, and it is not. So the intention for this was that once I finished this first Muji book in here, I'd move on to this one. Now, it's not the end of the world. I can still use it for that, but that won't be so useful for like trips and out and about because it won't be living in this cover. I still think it's gorgeous though, to be honest, so I'm not upset. So those were the stationery bits. On the black and red theme again, I went into TK Maxx to look at the Halloween stuff, and this tarot deck was amongst it. And I'm a bit of a collector of tarot decks, and I had the pull, I had the draw, and I had a look at the artwork. It looks really sick, so I got it. I'm gonna tell myself this was part of like my birthday present to myself. It's always a bit like dangerous when it's near my birthday, because I do kind of use it as a bit of an excuse to indulge myself. Maybe that's the point of a birthday, I don't know. So I'm gonna have a very quick look at these. I really love, like, okay, that looks cool as well, but like the spider's web detailing, I just feel like this, I'm going to get on really well with this deck. Like, I love that pattern on the inside there. Just to keep you a very quick look through. Okay, yeah, the titles are on the book, are on the cards as well. So this is quite a different art style to a lot of the tarot decks I've got, but it's very cool. Yeah, really nice. And there's a guidebook just here as well, so I can have a look through that. Yeah, very nice, very happy. Not necessarily a huge fan of the like back design. I feel like they look just a bit like regular playing cards. But the cards themselves are very cool. And then, yeah, just books, just for a moment. I went into a charity shop and picked up Notes on a Nervous Planet by Matt Haig. I read The Midnight Library a few months ago and enjoyed it quite a bit, and it sort of sat with me. And this was at £1.50 in a charity shop, so I figured I'd pick it up and give it a go. Some people say that Matt Haig tends to like oversimplify complicated mental health problems, and I think that is a valid critique. But also, I did feel very comforted by The Midnight Library. So if I can take comfort in something and it's going to cost me £1.50, I'm going to do it. And then these books I've borrowed from the library. So I think I've definitely mentioned in previous videos, but I probably mentioned in this video that I'm autistic. So I see the name Simon Baron-Cohen and I think autism. And then it says here, a wonderful lyrical celebration of the autistic mind. And it is, I think he's dedicated it. And we've got an Alan Turing quote at the beginning as well. I think I saw somewhere that there was a dedication to, yeah, in dedication to autistic people. Simon Baron-Cohen, from the reading I've done thus far about autism, isn't my favourite person, because in a nutshell, he describes autism as being extremely male-brained or male-minded, and the gender binary can do one, basically, and it's I feel like it's just like a really grim description of autism that's really dated now, and I would suggest has contributed massively to girls, women, anyone assigned female at birth in either not being diagnosed or being diagnosed late. So kind of like this guy, but also I want to be mentally stimulated. I think it's healthy for my views to maybe be challenged and to learn more about the roots of the current autism research that's going on. He's kind of like one of the main, people that has contributed. So worst case scenario, it's a library book. If I don't like it that much, it just goes back to the library. But I thought I'd give it a try. Mini rant over. Next, I've got this book about the haunting of Borley Rector. I mentioned before about the Mothman and who put Bella in the Witch Elm. I am allowing myself to engage with these interests again. I've listened to a few podcasts about Borley Rectory, and I'm going to give this a go. I try and theme what I'm reading each month. August is all about nature and natural history, but I think I'm going to give myself September and October for ghosts and spooky things. So I'll probably need to renew this at the library in a few weeks' time because it's a bit early. But I saw it and I was like, yeah, go for it. Nice to see Mark Gatiss has, you know, got his name on the front of that. If he likes it, I can be pretty sure that I'll get on with it. And then, thinking about like the natural history stuff, this will be one for me to read in August. Oh, look at this otter. I saw it and I like the look of this for multiple reasons. One reason is I'd read the Ray Mears book last week, I think it was, yeah. And who was it I was speaking to? I'm really sorry, I forgot who mentioned it, but someone mentioned, why don't you try Chris Packham instead? Because with him being autistic, I might get on with the writing style better. So the fact that it's Chris, that's one thing. Another element is I've been kind of wanting to read some of Chris's stuff anyway. But then also, the fact that this is like a DK handbook just made me really nostalgic for primary school and looking through these, you know, massive books about, you know, ancient Egypt, ancient Rome. There's just a lot of comfort in that. So this will probably be the book that I read after my current book. I want to make some headway with that. So good books from the library, lots of good stuff. So if you've made it this far, thank you for watching, because I've been talking for absolutely forever. Yeah, I don't really know what to say beyond that. One of my next videos will be the setup of this book, and I will keep you posted how I get on. Fingers crossed, the rings and the cousin will be the ones for me next year. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.